Okay, so here's a number that should not make sense. There are approximately 78,000 pizza restaurants in the United States right now. That is more locations than McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's combined. Americans eat roughly 3 billion pizzas per year. That is 23 pounds of pizza per person every single year. Pizza is, by almost every measure, the single most popular food in the entire country, and yet more than half of all independent pizza shops closed within their first 3 years of operation. Not because Americans stopped eating pizza, not because the product got worse, because of what it actually costs to make and sell pizza at the volume required to survive, and because of a delivery revolution that was supposed to save the pizza business but is quietly destroying the economics underneath it. John Schnatter started Papa John's in a broom closet behind his father's failing tavern in Jeffersonville, Indiana in 1984. He sold his car to buy used pizza equipment, knocked out a wall to connect the closet to the tavern, and started selling pizzas out of the back. Within a year, the pizza was outselling the bar. Within a decade, he had hundreds of locations. He became a billionaire. His face was on commercials that ran in every Super Bowl for years. And then, the company he built from a broom closet and a used pizza oven eventually forced him out. The founder, the man whose name is literally on the sign, lost control of his own business. If the person who built a pizza empire from nothing can end up on the outside looking in at his own company, what does that tell you about what owning a pizza shop actually looks like from the inside? So you want to own a pizza shop. A kitchen that smells like dough and oregano from the moment the oven fires up, a phone ringing with delivery orders, a dining room filling up on Friday night, and somewhere between the lunch rush and the last delivery run at midnight, a business that feeds an entire neighborhood and pays you for doing it. Sounds simple. It is not simple. And the story of how pizza shops actually make money and how they actually fail despite being in the most popular food category in the country is one of the most instructive stories in all of small business. Before you sell a single slice, you need to survive opening the place. A modest pizza shop of around 1,000 to 1,500 square feet in a decent location costs more to open than most people expect. Equipment alone is a significant number. A commercial pizza deck oven capable of handling real volume costs $8,000 to $20,000 new, and a serious operation often runs two of them. Add a commercial dough mixer at $3,000 to $6,000, a prep table with refrigerated storage, a commercial refrigerator and freezer, a point-of-sale system, a ventilation hood, a dough sheeter if you're doing volume, and a delivery dispatch setup. Before you've bought a bag of flour, you spent $40,000 to $80,000 on equipment alone. Then comes the build-out. Turning a raw retail space into a functioning food service establishment means commercial kitchen plumbing, grease traps, upgraded electrical for commercial ovens, ventilation systems, health department compliant surfaces, a customer-facing counter and dining area, and signage. In most American cities, a proper pizza shop build-out runs $100 to $250 per square foot. On a 1,200 square foot space, that's $120,000 to $300,000 before you've hired your first employee or ordered your first case of mozzarella. Add first and last month rent, a security deposit, and the legal and permit costs of getting a food service license and a business license approved, and the total cost to open an independent pizza shop in a real market typically falls somewhere between $150,000 and $500,000. Buying an existing pizza shop is faster, but comes with its own trap. A pizza shop that looks profitable often looks that way because the owner is working 70-hour weeks and not paying themselves a real salary. The moment you factor in an actual owner wage, the margins shrink dramatically. And the pizza shop's most valuable asset, its regular customer base, is tied to the person who built those relationships. The moment the face behind the counter changes, some of those regulars quietly disappear. Say you've committed to a space and the keys are in your hand. Before your first customer walks through the door, there are costs that catch almost every new pizza shop owner off guard. Food cost is the most immediate. The ingredient cost for a well-made pizza sounds manageable in isolation. A 12-inch pizza using $1.50 in dough, $1.20 in sauce, $1.80 in cheese, and $0.8 in toppings has a food cost of about $5.30. If that pizza sells for $16, the food cost percentage is roughly 33%. That's already at the high end of what most restaurant operators target, and it doesn't include any waste, over-ordering, staff meals, or the dough batches that don't turn out right during the first weeks of operation. Industry standard for food cost in a pizza operation is 28 to 35%. Managing that number tightly every single week is one of the most demanding and unforgiving parts of running this business. Labor comes on top of that.
A pizza shop that is open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week needs cooks, counter staff, and delivery drivers across multiple shifts. Delivery drivers in particular represent a labor cost that most new owners underestimate, because drivers are on the clock from the moment they arrive, not just during the minutes they're actually delivering.
A driver who completes 3 deliveries in a 2-hour stretch is paid for 2 full hours of time regardless of how much delivery revenue those 3 trips generated. Labor in a pizza shop typically runs 30 to 40% of revenue, and when you add food costs on top of it, you've already consumed 60 to 75% of every dollar that comes in before paying rent, utilities, insurance, or anything else. Here's where it gets genuinely interesting, because the way a pizza shop makes money is more layered than most people realize. The first layer is dine-in, and it is the highest margin transaction the shop produces. A customer sitting at a table orders a pizza, a drink, maybe a side. The ticket is larger, there are no delivery costs, no third-party commission, no driver wage attached to that transaction. The dine-in customer, when the dining room is full on a Friday night, produces the best economics the shop ever sees. This is why pizza shops with serious dine-in business, the ones with full tables and a real atmosphere, almost always outperform pure delivery operations of the same size. The second layer is phone and direct online orders for delivery and pickup. This was historically the core of the pizza business model, and it still is for the operators who manage to keep customers ordering directly rather than through third-party apps. A direct order costs the shop nothing beyond the driver's time. The full ticket value stays inside the business. The third layer is catering. Office lunches, school events, birthday parties, corporate orders. A single catering order can generate $200 to $500 in revenue, with relatively predictable prep requirements and no walk-in uncertainty. Pizza shops that build even a modest catering account with a nearby office building or school system create recurring revenue that smooths out the volatility of day-to-day retail traffic. The fourth layer is the one that was supposed to transform the pizza business, but has instead created one of its most serious structural problems: third-party delivery platforms. DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub. These platforms give a pizza shop access to customers who might never have found it otherwise. They provide the logistics infrastructure for delivery without the shop having to build and manage its own driver fleet. And they charge between 15 and 30% commission on every single order they deliver. On a $20 pizza order through a platform charging 25% commission, the shop receives $15. From that $15, food cost takes roughly $6.50. Labor takes another $3 to $4. The contribution to rent, utilities, insurance, and everything else is what remains. And what remains is often almost nothing. This is the trap the pizza industry walked into collectively over the past decade. Delivery apps increased order volume for many shops. They also restructured where the margin went. The platforms built an enormous amount of customer loyalty to the apps themselves rather than to the individual restaurants on them. A customer ordering through DoorDash is loyal to DoorDash, not to the pizza shop. They'll order from whoever appears first in the search results, whoever has the best promotion that week, whoever the algorithm surfaces on a given evening. The shop gets the order, the platform keeps a quarter of it and owns the customer relationship.
To understand how this plays out at scale, look at Sbarro. For 4 decades, Sbarro operated in a location type that seemed completely failure-proof: the food court of the American shopping mall. Every mall in the country had one. Millions of people walked past Sbarro locations every single week. Captive foot traffic and enclosed spaces with limited dining options. The brand sold more than 250 million slices annually at its peak. Sbarro filed for bankruptcy protection in 2011, emerged from bankruptcy, then filed again in 2014. The company that put pizza slices in front of more captive American consumers than almost any other operator in the country could not build a cost structure that survived the combination of declining mall traffic, rising food costs, and a pricing model built around a $3.50 slice in a world where customers increasingly expected more for less. If Sbarro couldn't make the math work inside America's busiest food courts with decades of brand recognition and millions of weekly eyeballs walking past, the fragility of pizza economics becomes very clear, very fast.
Ghost kitchens added another disruption on top of that. A ghost kitchen is a commercial cooking space with no dining room, no storefront, and no walk-in customers. It exists purely to fulfill delivery orders. It pays lower rent than a traditional restaurant location, runs with a leaner labor model, and can operate multiple virtual brands simultaneously from the same kitchen. A ghost kitchen in a cheap industrial space can undercut a traditional pizza shop on delivery pricing while running at a lower cost base, specifically because it has stripped out every element of the business model that isn't about producing food for delivery. So does owning a pizza shop actually work as a business? In the optimistic scenario, you build a real dine-in following that fills the dining room on weekend evenings and generates the highest margin transactions in your entire revenue mix. You maintain a direct ordering relationship with your regular customers through your own website and phone line, keeping platform commissions from consuming your delivery margin. Your food cost is disciplined, your labor model's efficient, and your location was negotiated before the street became expensive. In that case, a well-run independent pizza shop can produce a real living for its owner and become a genuine neighborhood institution. In the realistic bad year, your direct orders migrate to the platforms because customers find it more convenient. Commission costs rise. A ghost kitchen opens nearby and starts appearing above you in the delivery app search results because their lower cost base lets them price aggressively. Your cheese cost spikes because dairy commodity prices moved against you. Your best cook leaves, and your landlord, looking at what your corner has become, sends a lease renewal with a number that reflects what the street is worth today rather than what it was worth when you signed the original agreement. Papa John's started in a broom closet. It became a $3 billion company. It still couldn't protect its own founder from being pushed out of the business he built. The pizza didn't change. The business around it did. 78,000 pizza shops, more than McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's combined, the most popular food in the country, and more than half of the independent ones gone within 3 years. The pizza isn't the business. The margin left after everything else takes its cut is.